So this is the instruction part of the course. And we're going to talk a little bit about obstacles to meditation and their antidotes. So there's lots of different obstacles, and this particular viewpoint comes from this tradition. And really it divides the obstacles into, well, I'll parse it out this way, into laziness, excitement, and laxity. So what those obstacles are, first is laziness. And that's pretty straightforward, you would think. That's where you just are a couch potato and you just end up not doing the meditation. So that can happen. Certainly happened to me. Another element of laziness is when you're actually doing so many other things, you haven't left yourself any time to meditate. So in this perspective, that's also considered laziness as well. You could also look at it, at least I also look at it as maybe you haven't done the work to kind of refresh your priorities. You might tell yourself, and of course this is up to you, you might tell yourself that doing meditation is worthwhile. And, I've even experienced the benefits. And so I want it in my life. But we haven't done the work to kind of continue to work on our minds and our attitudes and reorganize ourselves a little bit so that we're able to actually find the time to meditate. The final type of laziness in this perspective is telling yourself that, oh, lots of other people can meditate, but I'm just not able to meditate at all. So I would hope that in this class, I've given you some of the basic tools where you can address that problem. Just the simplest tools where you just 5-10 minutes a day, build up a habit of meditation and just even use it to calm your mind. The second obstacle is excitement. That's where your mind is distracted, scattered, unfocused, impatient. I'm meditating, but I've got all these other things to think about. I've got this whole list of things that I'm going to need to do after this. So that's really what they call excitement here. And it prevents stable resting on the meditation object, in particular in concentration meditation. And then the third obstacle is laxity. That is dullness or sleepiness, a sinking quality of mind, even just a lack of energy or resolve, dedication in your meditation. And that results in a poor quality of attention. So when you're meditating, the object is murky or unclear. It doesn't have a lot of force or engagement to it. So what are the fixes? What are the antidotes to those three things? Well, laziness. We talked a little bit about this up at the start, is just making sure your meditation session is prepared ahead of time so that it's easy to begin your meditation session and not overthinking. It's like anything. These suggestions could be applied to a huge variety of things. So not overthinking, just taking your mind, strangely, isn't it? Taking your mind out of the equation when it comes to starting the meditation session, just like sitting down on your seat. Another tip or trick is to work your meditation into an existing routine where you've already developed a habit. Try that, see if that works for you. And working on to develop and strengthen your enthusiasm to meditate by remembering the benefits that you've experienced in the past, keeping those in mind, and visualizing the positive outcomes of meditation. Even if it just helped in one particular situation in your life outside of the meditation seat, just bring that back to mind, bring that memory back to mind, and then see if that will help motivate you. Of course, it's really important to set moderate and realistic expectations for progress. It's like I mentioned again a little bit earlier that this is a deliberate practice. So it's the opposite of deliberate practice is sort of just rote, almost robotic type repetitions where you're not really paying attention. You're just like, you're just going through the motions. Here, we've set a motivation. So we've got a direction that the meditation session is going to take. And we've got certain goals during the meditation session. That won't always happen. So we have to prepare ourselves psychologically for the fact that something unexpected might come up, or we might just have a difficult, frustrating meditation session. So that's where setting moderate and realistic expectations for progress is important. Then again, we don't want to have no expectations at all, because then we just kind of fall back into just kind of rote, just meditation that isn't quite as helpful to us. And then focusing on the contentment and pleasure and just rejoicing in it, in the outcome of even a difficult meditation session, what you learned about yourself, what you learned about how your mind works. And really, you are the only person who can actually observe this. I mean, they can wire you up, and put like a shower cap over your head, but those instruments are just so crude. And we have such fine discrimination that we can develop in meditation. And it's a truly subjective, truly unique experience in meditation. And so just being content with and rejoicing in the ability to do that, and also in any outcomes of, self-knowledge. So laziness is really the number one, getting back on the meditation seat every day, even for 5 or 10 minutes. And those are really the critical points there. Second one is distraction. That's where your mind is excited and flighty and so on. Use the breath. Do the 9 rounds breathing meditation. You can scan the body. You can count your breaths. There's a zillion different things you can try. When you do get distracted, you can imagine these distractions like the clouds in the sky of the mind, or you can imagine distractions that are like fish that are swimming through the clear water-like mind. We did that meditation last week. And so in a way, the distractions are helping us observe the fundamental nature of the mind. We have a distractive, discursive thought, but we always return. And what is it about the mind that's always there, even in between thoughts and distractions? So here, the distractions are an opportunity, letting us observe the nature of thought to heighten our awareness and mindfulness, and to practice applying the other antidotes. Again, with distraction, you can check your physical posture. Your head may be too high. You might be too stiff and rigid. Your eyes might be too open if you don't have them closed. You can also, look at your physical environment. Is there too much light in the room? Maybe you want to open up, a window to get some fresh air or something like that. And just finally, just be patient and easy with yourself, and just try not to get annoyed or agitated in the face of all of this. This is all the work we do in meditation. It's not, in a way, working with distractions and increasing our concentration and going back and forth between a concentrated and a distracted state, mindfully returning to the concentration. That is the work of meditation. Yeah, so just be patient and easy. And then finally, there's dullness. That's the third obstacle. And again, here the recommendation is to check your physical posture. Your head may be drooping too far forward. Your spine isn't straight. So maybe you could energize your spine just by making it more upright. And you can even try meditating with the eyes slightly open to bring in some more light. If our eyes are closed, that will help us avoid excitement, but we also have a strong association between closed eyes and napping. And so we can always just try and keep the eyes open just a little bit. And that's the more experienced meditators in this style. You'll see them with their eyes just slightly open. They're not really looking through them, but there is some light coming through. You can raise the amount of light in the room, or again, like open a window. And so change the temperature, work with the temperature in the room. Bright light and fresh air can help counteract sleepiness. Another thing you can do if you're prone to dullness is to fill your mind with a bright and open image, like the sun in a clear blue sky. And just elevate your mind mentally. You can also do that by reflecting on something joyful, such as, it's actually pretty amazing that we have the good fortune in our life and the opportunity to be able to do these types of meditations. If you still are drowsy, it might make sense to take a break from meditation. You know, you can splash cold water on your face, step outside for fresh air, do a bit of exercise, maybe a few downward dogs. I don't know. I think that would help. And of course, if you're consistently struggling with this, maybe you should be sure to get enough sleep. Because if you're sleepy, yeah, your body's telling you something. So those are the principal obstacles. So laziness, excitement, and dullness, or laxity, are the three. This is just one of the ways of slicing the pizza, but this is the classical approach here. So I'll give a quick summary. We're next going to go to analytical meditation. We're going to do an analytical meditation. I'll describe it a little bit, then we'll take a break so you can move around. Then we'll go right into the meditation after the break. But what is analytical meditation? Well, we've already learned three kinds of meditation. We've learned concentration meditation, which uses the skill of concentration. We've learned mindfulness meditation, which uses the skill of mindfulness. So a concentration meditation is counting the breaths, the 9 rounds breathing exercise, and so on. Anything where you keep your mind on a particular object. The mindfulness meditation is where you just explore mindful awareness of your mental processes, of unfolding of the thoughts. Examples there are the bare awareness meditation, or mind like the sky, or mind like the ocean. Those are mindfulness meditations. We started out the session today with the 9 rounds breathing exercise, which is also a visualization meditation, where we occupy part of our mind by building a mental image of something. And usually it's something that's helpful or useful to us. But tonight, we're going to end up with doing an analytical meditation. And what does that even mean? Well, in general, it just means thinking about an event, a situation, an interaction, a relationship with someone, understanding and learning an idea or concept, planning or even remembering, or going through some chain of reasoning that you want to become more and more familiar with. And at a high level, analytical meditation can be helpful, unhelpful, or just neutral. You might consider this helpful. Try to remember where you left your keys, retracing your steps in your memory, figuring out, well, no, I would never have put them there. That's just an example of an analytical meditation. Maybe a negative one would be rehashing an unpleasant situation you experienced early in the day, or maybe earlier in the week. Well, yeah, so going over the situation, oh, that person, they're so horrible. Why did they say that? You know, I wish I had said this at that time. That would have just shown them, you know, that kind of analytical meditation that's not so helpful to us. Or another example of a positive one is you could realize, you know, Maybe someone did something nice for you today and you didn't really notice it, but like how grateful you felt thinking back on that someone helped you out. So that's another example of analytical meditation. The aim from this perspective here, from the Buddhist perspective, is to become a better person, just so you can help yourself and help others. And what it could mean is anything really: becoming more generous, more tolerant, more self-respecting, more energetic, more calm, more wise, more grateful, more compassionate. Any of those qualities, or whatever qualities you choose that you wish to work on in your life, it's completely up to you, whatever's helpful to you and to others. So what Buddhists do is they use analytical meditations to help develop these good qualities in themselves. That is, to transform their minds in order to help themselves or others. So how does that even work? Well, first, you place your mind in a state of calm, quiet, and relaxation. And we do that by calming the mind and then setting a motivation that energizes our meditation. And then once we enter that positive state, we've realized that through mindfulness, we can learn to become aware of what we're thinking. So our thoughts just don't occur, take over our mind, and we have no control over them. We can train ourselves to become, first of all, become aware of what we're thinking, that we're actually thinking, and that's a thought, and the emotions are arising, but they're not in control. Once you're aware that you're thinking, you have a little bit of space. Doesn't happen all the time. There's some situations where it doesn't happen at all, very strongly emotional situations. But many times we can practice this and we can become aware, and we have that little bit of space to be able to change what we think according to our own desires and our own motivations. And if we do this, if we change what we think in a consistent, focused, and directed way over time, our habits of mind will change. It's just natural, isn't it? I mean, we just, if we change our behavior at first, it's very difficult and we forget a lot. But then over time, whatever it is, our thoughts included, we can change those habits. And again, at first, the change takes effort, and then it becomes more natural with practice, like anything. So we're using investigation and reason, analytical meditation, to become familiar with and develop good qualities, that is, to transform our thinking in order to help others and ourselves. And we also use the investigation and reason to identify and disempower negative patterns. Just at first, just even become aware of that negative pattern. What is the context? What is the trigger? What's the result? What makes it so negative for us? Just identify and disempower these negative patterns, habits, biases, prejudices that have been harmful to ourselves and to others. So examples of analytical meditations are the one we're going to do next, which is transforming negative experiences in positive. And transforming negative experiences into positive. And then another one, which we'll do next week, is the Equanimity Meditation, which teaches us to see all others, that is, friends, enemies, strangers, as the same at a fundamental level. That we share some basic concerns. Okay. Well, what I will do again is I will give you guys a 5-minute break. You can get up, stretch, do whatever you like. See you in a little. Welcome back. Well, I will just, I don't want to go over, so I'll just pop into this meditation. Just make yourself comfortable. We'll just get started right away. Let's see. Yeah, oh, there's Emily. Excellent. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just turn off my video so that there's no one like staring at you while you meditate. And I'll just guide you through this. Just a few words on this meditation. In a way, it's kind of like visualizing, like doing a three-pointer, just shooting that basketball, and it's taking a perfect arc and then it just like swishes right through the basket. And then you won the game and everyone wins. So that's basically what we're going to do here. I guess it sounds silly, but okay. So I'll just read a short introduction to this and then take you through the meditation. So just relax. I'll turn off my camera so you can be nice and relaxed by yourself. Just listen to my voice here. So this meditation here, well, really, it's pretty obvious that we have many habitual patterns embedded in our thinking and our behavior. In a way, that's a survival strategy to preserve energy for our brain. But those habitual patterns don't always help us. Sometimes the context is wrong. Sometimes they're just plain unhelpful. So by replaying our day's actions in our meditation session and transforming these habitual patterns from negative to positive in our imagination, we can gradually change our thinking and our behavior. We can become happier individuals and bring greater happiness and well-being to others through our interactions. So if we engage this practice every time we fall into negative behavior, and I have plenty of grist for that mill personally, what we do is then we replay what we've done and try and relive it in the most positive way we can imagine. That way, we want to gradually dismantle our negative patterns and replace them with new positive ways of thinking and behaving. And this should mesh with some of the basic science I told you about the way habits work. And this is suggested as a good meditation to practice in the evening at the end of the day. We collected all of those negative experiences. So calm your mind. Whatever breathing exercise you enjoy, even just watching the breath is okay. And here, the motivation that is suggested is to generate the strong intention to do this meditation in order to train your mind to experience difficulties with a calm, clear, and gentle approach. Here is the actual meditation. Spend a few moments thinking about your day and the experiences that you have had during the day. Focus especially on difficult situations that may have arisen. Maybe there's none that come to arise. Maybe something happened this week earlier. Situations in which you may have become impatient, lost your temper, even just seen others as problems or enemies. Maybe you even lashed out at them verbally. Now, remembering that this situation is over and that you are simply experiencing memories now of something that is gone and is now in the past, bring that difficult situation to mind. Remember what happened from beginning to end. Watch and observe your mind and your behavior as you replay the situation. You might also want to recollect the physical sensations. Did your breathing change? Did you have any kind of physical reaction? Use all the techniques and abilities of mindfulness that you have learned in order to disidentify with those feelings and actions as much as possible. To be able to simply watch and observe dispassionately. We talked about this earlier, some of the ways we can diffuse these strong emotions. Now we think about the disadvantages and harmful nature of the negative responses that took place during that situation. Think about how you felt while being impatient and angry. Did you feel happy, comfortable, at peace? When that angry feeling led to angry words and actions, what effect did that have on you? The effect at that time and maybe afterwards as well. What effect did it have on others around you? Maybe people, bystanders, friends who are with you. Did it make them happy? Did it make the situation easier? Did the angry behavior help bring the situation to a positive solution? Now think about how you might have handled the situation differently. For example, with a calm, balanced, and open attitude. Without anger controlling you, without impatience rushing you, without resentment clouding your vision. Think about how your and others' experience of the situation might have been completely different. Generate a strong feeling of how extraordinary it would be to be able to manage difficult situations just like this one with a calm and peaceful mind, uncontrolled by the emotions of anger and agitation. Now replay the entire situation in your mind from beginning to end, imagining it completely differently. Relive the situation and imagine yourself reacting perfectly with warmth and openness toward the other people, with calm and balance, and without any anger or agitation. Imagine how the situation might have played itself out in this totally different way. Is the outcome different? How do you feel about yourself at the end of the interchange? Pleased or disappointed? How do you imagine others reacting? Now we make a strong determination that the next time we encounter difficulties that try our patience, we'll take a breath and step back, and we'll try to respond with openness and patience, as we did in our meditation, as we just practiced. keeping our mind under control and out of the control of anger. In addition, make a strong determination that each time you find yourself responding with impatience, agitation, and anger in the future, you will practice the same meditation in order to gradually overcome those negative response patterns and train the mind to respond with kindness, balance, and patience. Well, that's the end of the main meditation. So we'll dedicate. So we can dedicate our positive energy. Maybe you felt a sense of relief, or maybe it was an interesting exercise for you. Anything at all positive that you gained from that meditation. Just dedicate that positive energy and any insight that you might have gained to the well-being and happiness of yourself and those others who are around you. So did anyone throw any 3-pointers? I hope so.
My mind was all over the place.
Sure, yeah. I sometimes find that one difficult to do, because it was a negative situation and there's like discomfort and, maybe there's like a little bit of sense of shame, how could I have actually behaved that way? I guess maybe I was tired and like at the end of my tether and so on, but still, yeah. So that's an interesting one, but that uses, I guess, first it starts with just recognizing what negative experience we had, and then sort of transforming that into a positive visualization.
I found it difficult to not get caught up in the emotion of being there again.
Yeah, because it happened to you. It was real and everything. And that's kind of, that's why we work on our mindfulness and use some of those techniques that I discussed earlier, dealing with difficult situations. Now, maybe I've said this before in this course, I do go through these meditations quickly because there's an awful lot of material to cover, but you can take time in this meditation and maybe, if that happened again, try a 9 rounds breathing exercise, or, go to your happy place, then return, pick it up where you left off, something like that. Any other questions or comments? Well, if you want, and this is totally optional, when you're doing your home practice, even if you get a chance just to meditate, I don't know, on the yoga mat or in traffic or something like that, just notice what obstacles you're more prone to. And those are laziness, excitement, or laxity. Where does your mind tend to go? And it's not the same for everyone. And then do you know the antidotes that you can use in order to fix those obstacles? And how, which ones work for you, which ones don't? Maybe even you come up with your own antidote. Of course, if it works for you, it works for you. And then also just see if you do a meditation, maybe one of the handouts, just see if you can remember what the 4 parts of the meditation session are. That is preparing and calming the mind, the motivation, the actual meditation, and then the dedication. And why are we actually doing these? I mean, is it just arbitrary? Well, no. I mean, I think I've answered that question. We need to get our mind ready in a neutral state and build a meditation habit. That's why we calm the mind. Once our mind is in neutral state, then we use the motivation to put it in a positive frame to generate the positive energy and the direction for our session. because we are practicing deliberately here to gain some sort of benefit. And that motivation gives us the energy, resolve, and a positive tone for our meditation. Then we do the actual meditation. And finally, we do the dedication. We've done quite a few of those. And really, one of the basic reasons for doing this is to help our meditation habit by creating feelings of enjoyment and accomplishment that we can remember when the time comes for the next session. So let's dedicate for the end of this session. So let's just appreciate and rejoice in the positive energy and insights that we've created together in this session. Some form of self-discovery, or maybe interesting, or maybe you just had a sense of pleasure, relaxation after a long day. And as we think about that positive energy and insight, we recognize it in the framework of the progress you guys have been making towards the worthwhile goal of becoming a better person for your benefit. And naturally, that benefits all of those around you. So think about that level of accomplishment. You guys worked hard for 90 minutes. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
when you have that feeling, just savor that feeling and just let it sink in for a moment into your memory. Okay, everyone, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Yes, one more class,
Thanks.
Shayla, if you would care to join us, it'd be great to have you. So one more class, class 4, and then you'll be meditation experts.
See you next week.
Levitate,
See ya.
read people's minds.
Making 3-pointers.
You got it.
Thanks,
Every
Stephen.
time.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, take
Bye.
care. See you soon.